بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. عطوفة مندوب سمو الأميرة سمية بنت الحسن المعظمة الأستاذ الدكتور زيدان كفافي رئيس جامعة اليرموك الأكرم، أصحاب العطوفة والسعادة والأساتذة الكرام، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. مرحبا بكم في هذا الملتقى العلمي الآثاري الذي تقيمه مجلة أدوماتو. لقد سبق أن عقدت أدوماتو الملتقيين الأول والثاني في مدينة سكاكا بمنطقة الجوف بالمملكة العربية السعودية، مقر مركز عبد الرحمن السديري الثقافي الذي تصدر عنه المجلة. وفي هذا العام ارتأى المركز أن يعقد المؤتمر الثالث لأدوماتو في إحدى الدول العربية، وقد تم اختيار المملكة الأردنية الهاشمية الشقيقة لعقد المؤتمر فيها بعنوان المياه عبر العصور في الوطن العربي في ضوء الاكتشافات الأثرية، وما ذلك إلا لتأكيد أهمية التواصل الثقافي والحضاري بين المملكة العربية السعودية والدول العربية، وما يؤكد الترابط الحضاري وعلى مر التاريخ منذ استقرار الإنسان في هذه المنطقة التي يعدها علماء الآثار والتاريخ منبع الحضارات وجسر التواصل بين الشرق والغرب. في جلسات المؤتمر اليوم وغدا ستكون هناك 6 جلسات عمل تقدم فيها نحو 35 ورقة عمل تعرض فيها خلاصة أبحاث علمية ودراسات أثرية تدرس تقنيات المياه وتأثيراتها البيئية وتفاعل الإنسان معها على مدى العصور التاريخية المختلفة. ويسعدنا أن يشاركنا اليوم في هذا المؤتمر أساتذة وعلماء في الآثار من جميع الدول العربية، تقريبا من المشرق العربي والمغرب العربي على السواء، وكذلك باحثون كرماء من دول أوروبية وآسيوية صديقة، يجتمعون لتقديم خلاصة أبحاثهم عن المياه في ضوء التنقيبات الأثرية، ما يؤكد أهمية تلاقح الأفكار والمعلومات عن موضوع المؤتمر بين الباحثين المشاركين. وفي ختام كلمتي أود أن أتقدم بالشكر باسم مركز عبد الرحمن السديري الثقافي إلى صاحبة السمو الملكي الأميرة سمية بنت الحسن المعظمة على تفضلها برعاية المؤتمر، وكذلك لسعادة مدير عام متحف الأردن المهندس إيهاب عمارين على استضافته فعاليات المؤتمر، ولكم جميعا على تفضلكم بالحضور، والشكر للجنة التنظيمية على ترتيباتها وعملها المتواصل من نحو عام كامل. وأترك المجال الآن لسعادة الأستاذ الدكتور العباس سيد أحمد لترأس الجلسة الأولى، والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
نشكر سعادة الأستاذ حسين الخليفة مدير عام مركز عبد الرحمن السديري على كلمته. أيها الإخوة، الجلسة الأولى يرأسها سعادة الأستاذ الدكتور العباس سيد أحمد، أحد علماء الآثار الذين نقدر لهم جهودهم وبحوثهم العلمية، وقد رغب بأن يقدم كلمة نيابة عن الباحثين المشاركين مع بداية الجلسة الأولى، فليتفضل. وستبدأ الجلسات إن شاء الله الآن. أنهينا الكلمات الافتتاحية التي أطلنا عليكم فيها، لكن بضاعتنا اليوم هي الكلام والبحوث، والبحوث لا تصل إلا بالكتابة والقراءة. تفضل.
بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. On behalf of the participants of this meeting, it's a pleasure for us to be in this nice city under the umbrella of Her Royal Highness Al-Amira Sumaya bint Al-Hassan, represented here by our colleague and friend Professor Zaidan Al-Kafafi, the Vice Chancellor of Yarmouk University. Grateful acknowledgement is due to Abdurrahman Al-Sideri Center under the directorship of Dr. Ziad Al-Sideri for the continuous unfailing support since the birth of Adumato Journal. Appreciation is to be extended to معالي الأخ الأستاذ الدكتور خليل بن إبراهيم الإبراهيم, the Vice Chancellor of the University of Hail, and his colleagues Dr. Sharikh and Dr. Muhammad Al-Ataibi, for shouldering the heavy burden after Professor Al-Ansari, for whom we wish quick recover with great success. And thanks also are due for Ustaz Ihab Amreen, the director of the Jordan Museum, for housing this meeting. The team of the Markaz Al-Sideri Center, represented here by Sultan bin Faisal Al-Sideri wa Hussein Khalifa wa Zumala'ihim, we are grateful for the tireless support and efforts also of Al-Ustaz Muhammad Suwana, to whom Adumato, to keep Adumato in the best light and shape. We are grateful for the welcome, the reception, and the hospitality we are engulfed with since our arrival. Water played and is playing a major role in the process of mankind. It was a source of conflicts and cooperation, took part in religious rituals and divinities, played a role in ideology and growth of cities, in division of labor and in identity and communal structure. Accordingly, it deserves such a meeting and concern. يسعدنا جميعا أن نعبر عن عميق شكرنا وامتناننا لسمو الأميرة سمية بنت الحسن رئيس الجمعية العالمية العلمية الملكية الأردنية على تشريف هذا اللقاء، وتفضلها بانتداب الأخ الزميل البروفيسور زيدان الكفافي رئيس جامعة اليرموك لينوب عنه. الشكر لمركز عبد الرحمن السديري تحت قيادة الدكتور زياد السديري على الدعم الهائل والمتصل لدورية أدوماتو منذ ميلادها وخلال مسيرتها. ويمتد الشكر لمعالي الأخ الأستاذ الدكتور خليل بن إبراهيم الإبراهيم رئيس جامعة حائل على تولي قيادة هذه الدورية خلفا للأستاذ الدكتور الأنصاري رغم مهامه وزملائه رغم مهامه الجامعية باقتدار ونجاح. الشكر لفريق مركز عبد الرحمن السديري الحاضرين معنا هنا، الأستاذ سلطان بن فيصل السديري والأستاذ حسين الخليفة وزملائهم على متابعة لم تنقطع لهذه الدورية. والشكر للأستاذ محمد صوان على جهد وعزيمة ظلت ساهرة وراء كل إصدار من هذه الدورية. الشكر لسعادة المهندس إيهاب عامرين مدير متحف الأردن على الاستضافة. جميعنا شاكرين لحرارة الاستقبال وحسن الضيافة التي غمرتمونا بها منذ قدومنا. إن اختيار موضوع هذا اللقاء ينم عن رؤية ثاقبة وإدراك حقيقي لمسيرة الحياة ودورها، لقد انعكس دور المياه في كل مناحي الحياة وعبر مسارها كانت ولا تزال ترسم خارطة الاقتصاد بكل فصائله، شكلت علامة بارزة في الأديان الأرضية والسماوية، وحول مصادرها دارت صراعات ونزاعات واتفاقيات، وكونت أساسات لدعائم الهوية، وشكلت دولا وشعوبا، وقسمت فرص العمل. لذا فإننا يجدر بنا أن نقف عندها بل وقفات أمام كل هذا، ولكم جزيل الشكر.
I would like to thank the organizers, the journal, and also Jordan for hosting this conference and for giving me the opportunity to present the results of my talk, of my research in Arabia. I think this is one of the most important resources in Arabia. It's water, not Nestle, it's just the water. And it dictates our life, agriculture yields, and it's such an important resource in Arabia. How do I proceed? And I would like today I would like to present results of our research here on the Arabian Peninsula. These are all places where we are working using different paleoclimate archives from corals, speleothems, sediments, marine sediments, lacustrine sediments. But today I would like to focus, of course, on Arabia and our research there. And one of our main archives and source of information about water are stalagmites. This is a picture of a stalagmite from Iraqi Kurdistan, from Shelly Cave, a person for scale. And these deposits, the speleothems, are formed from water. So we need rainfall to form these large deposits. And how do we reconstruct the paleoclimate, which is so important for cultural activity in Arabia? One of our most important proxies is, of course, dating. We must have an idea how old these deposits are, when they were formed. We are using uranium and series dating. You will see a few examples in a few minutes. Many of these stalagmites have like tree rings, annual bands. You can see these bands consisting of a black and whitish layer. Their thickness is often related to the amount of precipitation. We can use oxygen and carbon isotopes of the calcite to reconstruct the environmental conditions. And what is also amazing is these stalagmites contain small amounts of water. We can extract the water from these stalagmites and can measure its isotopic composition and many other parameters to reconstruct rainfall 100,000 years ago or 5,000 years ago. And we can use also trace elements to reconstruct and characterize the environment. And we can even use organic matter material incorporated in these stalagmites to reconstruct vegetation above the cave, for instance. Today I would like to focus on a sample from a Mukalla cave in Yemen, in Hadramaut. You can see the Indian summer monsoon circulation. You're all familiar with the Indian summer monsoon bringing rainfall to the southernmost part of Arabia. And I think we all agree, and many of you know, that this place is the Arabian Peninsula, really important, the entire Middle East, for the dispersal of modern humans, for instance, and dispersal of hominins over the last 2 million years at least. But we all know that this is a hostile environment with little rainfall, and so a green desert was required to allow humans to disperse across the Arabian Peninsula. And we have a lot of traces here. This is a picture from a site here in northern Arabia, near in the Nafut Desert. And whenever you leave the helicopter, you can find tools indicating that humans were present at certain times or certain periods back in time. But today, we all know too well, it's a very hostile environment, and you need exactly this to live there. So one of our key questions, one of our research projects, is to answer a few fundamental questions. When were these deserts formed? And when were they affected by the Indian summer monsoon rainfall, for instance? When did they turn into a green corridor for hominins and humans to disperse? And we all know that the intertropical convergency zone, this is a circulation in summer, with rainfall here, abundant rainfall in India, northern Africa, southernmost tip of Yemen. And this cave here is very, in a very strategic position to monitor changes in the latitudinal range of the Indian summer monsoon, and when the Indian summer monsoon, perhaps, and the African monsoon migrated into northern Arabia and brought abundant rainfall to northern Arabia. And to give you a taster, we collected a number of stalagmites also from the Arabian Desert. This is an example from Star Cave in Saudi Arabia. It's one of the oldest stalagmites ever found. This is, for instance, based on uranium-lead dating. This sample here from Star Cave in Saudi Arabia is 4 million years old. 4 million. And we have a couple of them. This is also a project. But I would like to focus on the last 1 million years. And this is a sample from Hadramaut, Yemen, with 2 people for scale. And we have, for instance, one date down here. Overall, we did 200 uranium thorium dates and uranium lead dates on this sample. But the base here of this sample is 900,000 years old. 900,000 years, not 9,000, 900. And when we, for instance, just examine the top of the stalagmite, you can see a lot of variations in color in the growth axis, giving us first information that the environment has changed over time. And as I said, stalagmites are a little bit like plants. They need water to grow. Right now, there is not enough rainfall for to allow stalagmites to form. The cave is basically inactive. So all these periods of deposition were actually are indicating humid intervals. And you can see, based on uranium thorium dating, and I will show you also the age distribution, you can identify different growth phases, indicating when this place received abundant monsoonal rainfall. And what I'm showing here is basically the last 1.1 million years. This is in kilo years. 0 is today, and we are going back in time. And this here is a record of interglacial periods, glacial periods. So we are living in an interglacial period, but 20,000 years ago it was a glacial period when large parts of the northern hemisphere were glaciated. And we can go back in time, and you can see these very periodic changes between glacial, interglacial periods. And this is a global index, global ice volume. And if we add the information from this stalagmite from Arabia, we can identify several humid periods over the last 1.1 million years. So these green bars indicate periods when the cave in southern Arabia was affected by the Indian Ocean monsoon, when there was a lot of monsoonal rainfall, probably 3 times, 4 times more than today. And this is the Holocene period. We know early Holocene, mid-Holocene period, 9,000 or 10,000 years to 6,000 years ago. Then there was a long period of non-stalagmite deposition, very dry conditions, and then we go into the Eemian, or the marine stage 5E, and we see 3 growth phases, and these are very important for the dispersal of modern humans when they were able to cross the Arabian desert, because during these green intervals back in time, the landscape in southern Arabia looked a little bit like a savanna-type landscape. And we could identify a number of these pluvial periods, overall of around 18 to 19 pluvial periods over the last 1.1 million years. Key result here is we don't have any evidence for pluvial period between 80,000 and 10,000 years ago. This is, of course, subject of very controversial discussions, whether there was a pluvial period. I apologize for this messy plot, but this is again the ice volume index you've seen, the last 1.1 million years. And what we did here for this cave, for this stalagmite, we analyzed oxygen isotopes, and they are related to the amount of precipitation. So whenever we have very negative values in the calcite, that means a lot of monsoon precipitation. And what is quite interesting is the Holocene was one of the driest periods of the last 1.1 million years compared to these previous pluvial periods, which we call South Arabian humid periods, 1 to 16. How much time do I have left? 1 minute more, good. 4 minutes more, good. And so you can see, for instance, 125,000 years ago was one of the wettest periods of the last 1.1 million years. And we are currently combining this with other measurements, and I would like to give you one example. So the take-home message here before I continue is these pluvial periods in Arabia are closely linked to these glacial ice volume changes. And so during warm periods, interglacial periods. Exclusively. We never found any stalagmite evidence for growth during these glacial periods. And I would like to give you an example of ongoing research. So when we take isotopes in modern precipitation, and this is an example from Oman, and you can see we can measure the isotopes in modern rainfall. We can also measure isotopes in modern water. And at this cave site, for instance, we have 2 moisture sources, one coming from the Mediterranean with a very specific oxygen and hydrogen isotopic composition, and one from the Indian, from an Indian source with a very specific oxygen and hydrogen isotopic composition. So we can use the isotopes in rainfall and in ancient rainfall to get an idea about the source of moisture, for instance. This is very important. So you can see Mediterranean and a Mediterranean source of moisture with frontal depression systems or a monsoon rainfall source. They have very different isotopic fingerprints. What we can do using the stalagmites, and we are now working on a lot of stalagmites from Arabia, they have small fluid inclusions. This is 50 micrometer for scale. And these inclusions contain small amounts of ancient rainfall of water. And we can extract the water from these fluid inclusions and can measure its isotopic composition. And we are receiving microliter amounts of water. So this is a really state-of-the-art, very recently developed analytical method. 1 minute, yeah, I'm almost done. So what you see here is actually, again in the red and green, modern precipitation in Oman, and in blue, the blue dots indicate ancient rainfall back to 300,000 years right now. We also collected now and measured water for the sample from Saudi Arabia for 4 or 5 million years old. But you can see that these fluid inclusions, the isotopic composition is pointing towards Indian's monsoon rainfall source. So we have direct evidence that it was not the Mediterranean that provided the moisture at this site. It was the Indian and African monsoon that migrated into Arabia. And this is ongoing research, and it's of course very interesting to combine these measurements also with isotope measurements on fossil groundwaters. So I'm ready to take your questions. I know that this is very much geochemical stuff. But I hope that I could show you some, the potential of these stalagmites for paleoclimate reconstruction. We have many more data, and I'm happy to discuss our results with you during the conference. Thank you very much.
We will leave the questions to the end of the session. Okay. Okay, thanks. Now we leave the floor for Dr. Hans to present his paper.
I'm going to talk about a very general topic, Arabian cultures and archaeohydrology. As you can recognize from the title, it will be very political, research political, of course, and stressing the point that at the advent of Arabian archaeology, especially in Saudi Arabia, the triland archaeology, we have to approach with new research agendas. How I proceed with this here? First, I should give a note of appreciation and thanks to Adamatu. This really is most important that you have risen and promote the topic of water and life in Arabia. The past water management is essential to understand Arab history. It's very simple. I was observing, especially when the work began in Saudi Arabia, that especially the foreigners coming there, they were working in very traditional ways with traditional research strategies, methods and experiences they brought from the favored regions in the Middle East. This I think is a false track. We really have to develop our own methods for the Arabian Peninsula, doing triland archaeology, respecting that we are dealing with deflated landscapes, that cultural developments are simply water-driven, and that all human, technological, and socio-economic development relates to water. Especially archaeologists need to understand what horizontal stratigraphies are, and that they are not working like in tells, but they are working in deflated landscapes. In addition to that, the drylands, they have different kinds of sites. They are not discrete sites with limited boundaries like tells. Especially in the early prehistory, we deal with open landscape sites, sometimes spanning for several square kilometers. This is essential for the protection of these sites. If you fence a part of that, you give the chance that everything else is destroyed outside the fence. So also the concept of what is a site in the dryland is most important to be changed. I'm promoting since a while, and this graph shows you that we still are in the middle of a discussion, that a new subject is created. Like we have archaeobotany, like we have archaeozoology, we should have, for this type of archaeology in the Arabian drylands, archaeohydrology. And archaeohydrology is a new discipline. It should be taught in universities, and it should be promoted by scientists and not by humanities. We are aware that water-related research is done by archaeology. We can call this hydroarchaeological research. But in my work, especially in Saudi Arabia, I understood what we cannot explain the sites without a hydrologist. He is telling me how the hydraulic structures were functioning, which I could not do. I only could identify that it's a hydraulic installment or landscape. So the competences and skills of archaeology, climatology, hydrology, geomorphology, geoarchaeology, and other disciplines have to be connected in this new archaeohydrological research agenda. There is also, I want to pick out only one aspect. When we are digging in the remote areas of Arabian deserts, we always found old Bedouin who are telling us how they managed to get water even in the driest areas, not only by wells, but also by runoff catchment and so on. So this information is lost by the Bedouins disappearing from the world. Or living under modern conditions. So it is a matter of archaeohydrology to rescue this information and to keep it for the future in order to have a sustainable water management of a desert in future. Then at one time, certainly the deep wells will fade out of water. Our results are based on two base studies, the Saudi-German Rajajil Standing Stone project and the Eastern Jaffa project in Jordan. It's multidisciplinary efforts of archaeology, archaeohydrology, geoarchaeology, and paleoenvironmental sciences engaging in this field work. As a basic result, I can report that we are concentrating in the 5th and 4th millennium BCE, when we are dealing with well cultures, which developed from hydraulic mobile pastoral steppes. And in the 4th millennium, these societies developed to live in sedentary oases or proto-oases. This happened as a cause of the climatic degradation from 4200 BC onwards. It means that the shepherds lost their grazing grounds, the green desert, by the centuries, and they transformed their hydraulic knowledge in forms of wells, troughs, dam-based hydraulic technologies, and transformed them into well canal-based hydraulic technologies of oases. And all what we have is, especially from the burial customs, they continued to live in the same setting of same social settings, only that they became horticulturalists by that time. I like to call them the Paleo-Bedouins becoming oasis settlers. Of course, the desert was used all the time, so we deal with economic dualism from 4200 onwards. And my most, I'm very fascinated by the phenomenon that this oasisation of Arabian deserts is one of the greatest legacies we have from the Arab world to world history, because from here this type of social economy entered other parts of the world. The Rajajil cultures are a new understanding not only of the site of Rajajil, but also of, I got, yeah, 3 minutes, yeah. So I want to skip that. You can have my PowerPoint. Just only saying that in the second half of the 5th millennium we have the shepherd cultures attested in 5 centers we so far have, and from about 4000 onwards we have the proto-oases coexisting with the shepherd cultures, and from when we have the onset of the oasisation all over the Arabian Peninsula. These pictures you might not have seen, they are new. These are our some of our results from Rajajil. Rajajil is not what is shown only in the symbol of Adamatu, the standing stones. We have solid architecture hidden in a dune, in a huge dune at the south side of the site. Fully preserved architecture with huge ashlars, and what is supporting my theory is later the graves have been transferred into housing areas. So we have the beginning of the oasis also attested in Rajajil. All started from Kulban Beni Mura in southeast Jordan. I came to Rajajil through the mediation of Dr. Seidan and Dr. Ali, who once were deciding that I should come to Rajajil. Here we met the first well cultures of northern Arabia, and it's a huge culture, the Rajajil cultures, deserving a lot of research attention in the years to come. I want to end with general conclusions on research on past water and life in Arabia. Human arid land adaptations in Arabia created specific ecological, socio-economic and technological conditions and patterns of historic developments. They are different from other areas of the Middle East. They are steered by water management strategies reacting to climate development at the first place. If you want to understand Arab prehistory, we can only approach it by water-related archaeological research or archaeohydrological research. In terms of cultural and hydrological perspectives, the basic traits of interaction of vulnerability, degradation, adaptation, engineering, and sustainability in hydraulic achievements and regressions have to be the focus of the future study. Especially, we have to stress that not the Neolithic period made dryland Arabia subject to sedentary occupations. It was only the Oasisation of the 4th millennium which made the Arabian Peninsula subject to permanent life. And it is a sustainable permanent life, as you know from the traditional oasis today. And to stress the last point, in terms of cultural anthropology, Arabia's past has to be established and studied as an autonomous field of research. Thank you for listening.